Briones Consulting Group. Prepare, plan, rebuild. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you like the content, and if you would like to see us continue putting out more content as time goes on. Managing the business development process, part of the Year 1 video series. So one of the issues I've been having with my clients lately, some of the newer clients in particular, is that they don't quite understand what needs to happen during the business development process. And I keep explaining to them, and I would like to make sure that everyone understands that it's not about knowing the details, it's about understanding how to manage the process. With that said, let's talk about what is business development. It's really broken down into three major areas. You're pursuing new opportunities, you're cultivating partnerships and relationships, and you're identifying new markets and service areas. So, pursuing strategic opportunities is always being on the lookout for who you can partner up with that provides an ancillary service that does not compete against you directly, that you both are chasing same clients. Let's learn who can we work together with. Then cultivating partnerships, this is where you make your money, where you're going in and you're finding businesses that can refer to you. Doesn't necessarily mean, you know, for profit. It could be nonprofit, it could be your church organization, it could be anything. But you have to develop these partnerships, these professional relationships. I'll give you a couple of examples. So if you work in healthcare, your accounts, your partnerships are that you're pursuing are going to be with facilities such as hospitals, you know, skilled nursing facilities, hospice centers, assisted living facilities, doctors' offices. If you're, let's say, a elder care attorney, you're going to pursue some of the same people. Maybe social workers are going to be mixed into their geriatric care managers. If you are a criminal defense attorney, some of the people you're going to want to approach are divorce attorneys, family law, because they deal a lot with restraining orders. That could be a potential referral source for you. Um, you're going to want to, do a lot of community events, go to places that have your client base. I mean, in order for you to make money, that's actually one of the first things you need to figure out is who's your client, but we'll get into that in another video. So the third part is identifying new markets. That's prospecting. You're going to be prospecting all the time. As a matter of fact, while you're working on the first two parts of it, as you're driving around, as you're going in meetings, you should always be on the lookout for, or keep your ear to the ground to find out new places, where can you expand, what other opportunities are there available. So your role as an owner and manager, again, it's not knowing the day-to-day gritty stuff. Like you don't necessarily have to know what it takes to get past a receptionist to meet the appropriate referral source. You don't necessarily have to know what it takes to draw clients or draw referrals from these people, but you do have to know what the goals are. All right, so if your goals are, that you want to have, let's say, 5 new clients for the month. Well, that's great. What's it going to take to get there? So you have to set the goals that that will get you to where you're going. Discuss this with whoever's doing the job for you. You have to make the goals known. Everyone needs to know. Every member of your team. I don't care, the receptionist, the janitor, everybody needs to understand what that major goal is for the month. And you also have to sit with your team and discuss what actionable steps are going to be needed to get there. And you have to be able to measure the outcomes. So we're going to talk about all of these in the next coming slides, but really, what communication is going to be key to making this work. And again, it's about understanding the process of managing business development, not about doing the actual job. So let's talk about goal setting. These goals should be achievable and realistic. You're not going to open your doors, brand new business, no one knows you, you're in a brand new territory, and with no brand recognition, nothing, and all of a sudden get flooded with 50 clients day one. That's unrealistic. You do not want someone who's brand new to your team that doesn't understand the dynamics, and you're just going to go tell them, get out there and get me business, and they're not going to walk in the door with 20 clients, at the end of the first week. They might, but it's unlikely. So let's make sure that our goals are realistic and achievable. Let's also be very specific in what we want. Okay, so just because we, you know, we want to make $1 million month one doesn't mean it's realistic. Let's also be specific on what the expectation is. What is the marketer or business development person responsible for? Are they responsible for clients at the end of the process? Or is their sole purpose to build these relationships so that referrals are coming in? Those are very two distinct outcomes. And depending on how you structure your business, either one of them could be possible. So let's say they are responsible for the client. Well, that means some of your desired outcomes will be, we want to see 5 clients at the end of the month, and we don't really care how they do it. We don't care if 10 referrals come in or if exactly 5 referrals and they just convert. We don't care if they convert the 5 clients day one. We are specific in our outcome, and we know that all we care about is that at the end of the month, 5 new clients were signed on. We also have to set milestones depending on the desired outcome. So if our desired outcome is referrals, then our milestones should be surrounded around the process that it takes to get referrals. How many sales calls are you making? How many people are you getting in front of week to week? Let's look at what's going on. Another part about milestones is that they could trigger events. So if we have, I'll tell you a very popular structure for bonuses and commission. It's, you know, usually it means everything above break even. So if we have a burn rate of about 18,000 a month in payroll, and with overhead, let's say it takes, with rent and insurances and everything else, it takes about 25,000 in revenue to keep the office afloat. So in order to generate 25,000 net, let's say we need to gross 60,000. So everything above the $60,000 would be considered where the bonus or commission, or however you want to structure it, is. Now, please do not take this as advice. This is just an example for the purpose of explaining milestones. All right, we are in no way trying to tell you how to pay your people. So finally, you got to post follow updates. So Henry, how often are you actually going to check these? Are you checking it weekly, monthly, daily, quarterly? We're going to talk about more about follow-ups here shortly. So planning, gather your team, meet with them. You should have discussions with what's going on. Discuss each goal individually. Like, what if we are trying to get 5 clients for the month? Let's talk about that. What needs to happen to get there? Let's identify each step very clearly. Let's not mince words. What needs to happen to get there? Have your team part of the conversation. Have them be part of this. They need to tell you what needs to happen. How are we going to grow our business? Clearly identify who is responsible for what. Now, we talked about this in other videos, and we'll talk about this again in much more detail in a future video. But positions, tasks are about positions, not individual people. What now? One person can do multiple jobs within your organization, but a position should be clearly identified as being responsible for specific tasks. Is your business development manager or associate or person, are they responsible for end to end for the full sales cycle? Are they responsible for prospecting? Are they responsible for conversions? Are they responsible for closings? If they are, well, then identify that. Make it very clear. Is another person going to be responsible for the closing? That again, um, those are different skill sets. So you might need two people to do this. So have your business developer be responsible for gathering referrals, and then the closer's responsibility is, to close. So just be sure that everybody understands what position is required to do what task, and then assign the positions to the individuals. This way, you will never have people trying to pass the buck. Oh, it wasn't my job. Well, no, you're assigned the position of A, B, and C, and that is part of the job description. So even though multiple people can assist in completing the task, things have to be made very clear. And then, provide due dates, that's self-explanatory. You need to be able to measure stuff and review your progress often. So how do you review and measure? Well, have your team present you the data. Even though as a manager or an owner, you have access to all the data, depending on how your office or how you're set up. Things are in today's age usually managed by some sort of computer system. Even if it's just an Excel spreadsheet, use Google Docs, everything is available. Make sure that you can see things gone live. So, but have them gather data to bring to you. It sounds redundant, but it holds people to an extra level of accountability. So if I know that I'm the business developer and my job is to help the business grow, and we had an office revenue goal of increase of 20%, which means that 10 referrals were supposed to be brought in, and it was supposed to be converted at about 65%, so we expected 6 to 7 new clients. And I'm looking at the data and I see that we did not achieve the goals, either the revenue goal or we didn't achieve the new client goal, because sometimes you can't predict how much a new client is going to spend. So if these goals were not met, as in as a person gathering the information, I will clearly understand this, and now I can start to develop solutions. And that is why you want your team to do this. Also, when you sit down to have the conversation, it makes it easier for them to process and be able to think ahead of why these goals were not met. Just ask, hey, what can we do to support you? We want you to succeed so the business succeeds. What do we need to give you to make that happen? And if the goals were met, or if they were exceeded, let's find out what went right, what did we do differently, and what can we bring into the process? How can we improve what we're actually doing? This should all be happening at meetings. Now, meetings should be held twice a day, but they should be short, no more than 5 to 15 minutes. Hey, what's going on? What's your plans for the day? That should be your morning meeting. Just a quick overview, not specific detail by detail. And at the end of the day, just recap. Hey, you told me this morning you were trying to meet with so and so to get a meeting and to possibly set up a lunch with them to discuss how you guys can start doing business. How'd that go? Same thing with your weekly meetings. The weekly meetings should be a little bit longer, maybe 10 to 30 minutes, and it should be a planning and strategizing meeting at the beginning of the week and a recap at the end. And you should get into the habit of monthly and quarterly account reviews. The quarterly account review should be soup to nuts. Let's look at where we're going and why we are going there. Are we going there because business has been generated steadily and increasingly, or are we going there chasing the norm feeling? If you never heard that expression, just go check out the show Cheers. If you've never heard of it, you can find episodes on YouTube. But when Norm used to walk in, everybody would go Norm, and everybody felt good. It's nice to feel accepted, but let's be realistic. We're not chasing acceptance, we are chasing business. So, how do we directly supervise the business development process? Please do not micromanage. If you do not trust your people enough to complete the task, then you have chosen the wrong people to do it. And you need to figure out why you don't trust them. You know, you do want to know their calendar, have an understanding of where they intend to be for major events. Again, lunches, presentations, meetings, things like that. You don't need a blow by blow of every minute of every day. Trust but verify, that type of thing. So also have continuous and proactive conversations. If I'm talking to you regularly, then there's no reason for me to distrust you. And once again, we're on the same note, trust but verify. So randomly, ride along with them. Go find out what's going on. This serves a couple of purposes. One, it allows the business developer or the person or people out in the field to know that they have to do their job because people will randomly pop up. It increases accountability. The other thing that this does is your accounts. Look, let's be realistic. Unless the person doing business development is you, the people, staff changes. Sometimes people leave for a better opportunity. Sometimes you have to fire people. Sometimes people just random stuff happens and they're not there anymore. Do you want to lose any traction you've made in an account simply because the account believes that there is no true depth in your office? That this person that was coming to see them weekly was the only person that was responsible for the entire process. That's not always the case. In fact, it's rarely the case unless you're running a one-man operation. So what you want to do is make sure that somebody else goes along from time to time, either an owner or the manager, and they understand that regardless of who's showing up, their clients or the referrals that are being made, everything will be serviced properly. Okay. And again, we talked about this shortly, not too long ago. 30, 60, 90-day reviews of all accounts. We got to know where the money's coming from and where can we most effectively use our time. So in short, listen, manage the process. Don't set goals, measure outcomes. This will help. Remember, it's about positions, not individuals. And so first create the position, then assign individuals to those positions. Keep your meetings short. You do not want your people, especially the ones responsible for growing your business, stuck in the office all day, not being able to accomplish what they need to. Get them in the office and out of the office as quickly as possible. And don't micromanage, okay? Nobody likes people breathing down their neck. And if you feel you need to micromanage, that means you don't trust your people and you need to have a good hard look as to what are they doing or what are you doing and if they're the right person for the job. And review everything often. All right, the more often you're doing checks, the more aware you are of what's going on. The more aware you are of what's going on, the more flexible your business becomes and more adaptable. You'll be able to pivot and make changes as needed. Thank you for watching our video. Please, once again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and leave us a comment below if you want to see any specific topics covered in future videos. Thank you very much.